Hey yo, what is up guys, it's your boy Tway here. This will be a video that has been requested for a long time, and well, due to me not having much time, I have been putting off for a little bit. But this will be the video on the top 5 best characters to start out the game with to have maximum progression. But a little disclaimer, this is my list, so if you think, why is my character not in there? Because they suck. Okay, no kidding. But the criteria to be on this list is if you can do all content, which means everything, not one thing excluded. So let's start defining what is all content. First of all, Tower of Challenge, even though like the current rewards aren't that amazing, and honestly after 75 it becomes a little bit harder to clear, this is something that you want to do. Onto the Orville Castle. You will have yourself Labyrinth, and honestly every single character with an A220 will be able to do this pretty much solo, but once again, few characters that are definitely taking the cake. Once you get to chapter 6, you go to Cain, you do Trials of the God King. This is where you get your soul weapons, and this will exponentially increase your progress within the game. Coming with the same part is Eclipse. Now, definitely some characters do take the cake into this, and the top 5 that I'm going to show you are not the epitome of Eclipse. Do keep that in mind. However, they are having the ability to clear up to wave 40, which will net you a nice amount of gold ether. Get a lot of ethers, get your soul weapons increased, and then increase your account even further. Then we have Little and Big Shot, man, and you can get a lot of items from this place. Now, some of these characters are quite debatable whether they are good because they need the highest investment possible to clear this high up, but they do have the capacity. Another one that I haven't taken into account in my previous video is PvP, and yes, these characters can be amazing for PvP. Another part is World Boss that you gotta score into, but these characters are not the epitome of World Boss whatsoever. They can do decent, but not the greatest. Last but not least is where you can get your gear, which is the TM raids, and my dear lord, all of these characters have the capacity to just blast through this content. So without further ado, let's get to the list. First of all, you guys knew this one, my man's 100 grand, and that is Chase. This dude has kept me going from start to finish of this game. He has the capacity to literally do everything. Maybe PvP, scoring all of your content. We've seen the speedrun video showing you guys what his capacity is, and it goes even further beyond. Now with his current reworks, I really put him up once again in this spot. Otherwise there would have been some other characters that would have taken it, but when you look at this, it is absolutely ridiculous. And in terms of gear, there are several things that you should be looking for. If you are a pure PvEer, the UT4 will give you the non-hero damage that you need and damage reduction up on your own face. If you, however, want a PvP, the Handkerchief of a Loyalty, aka the toilet paper of a Scarlet, is the one thing that you want to go for as well. As for the substats that you should be looking for, penetration is definitely good if you go for the Trial of Earth. Recovery stat is where he gets his lifesteal from, which means that if you get this one up really high, the dude doesn't get to die anymore. As for the TM lines, I go for normal attack by 25%, 3% times 12 every 15 seconds, and if you get this one, I would take 3 of them, but due to luxury, I got one of these, and I actually took myself this one to have pretty much a decent capacity for my chase. As for perks, I go back and forth on these, but this is what it generally looks like, and I go with the Warlike perk if there are multiple heroes, which means more attack, more damage, and everything else. But if you look at it completely, this dude definitely takes a spot in my top 5, no questions asked. You could turn into a Super Saiyan. You are the god of fire. Yeah, no, I'm just hella biased. Let's move on to the next, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think this one comes as a surprise, but Pansirone is definitely on this list. She has taken this spot for at least over a year because her AoE content is absolutely ridiculous. Her capacity to do Trial of Sky equally as broken. Even on PvP, you can build her if you get a very decent team around her. And she is one of the only ones that can do Guild Conquest on this list. But in my opinion, the thing that she really excels at is AoE content, which means your Arsalons are easy. The fact that you could even do PvP with her. The challenge raids are a piece of cake because with an Audi you can spam these skills onto no tomorrow. And as you start out as a beginner, you can just auto attack your way through the content up to chapter 10, starting out with just your TM raids straight away. But the only thing that I feel like she doesn't excel at is Eclipse. The way that her cooldowns are set up makes it so that you need to have a UT4 to keep up the spam ability. You need to have a very particular artifact to do whatever is necessary to keep her doing Eclipse. And then her mana gain is also one of the problems over there. Can she actually do well enough there? Yes, but you really have to specifically build her. Which is also one of the downsides that I feel coming from her is all of her UT except for the UT2 are good. They all have their place within the game. But I genuinely start out with the UT1 because that is the one that is used for the Trial of Sky. And then you can move and progress further from that. As for building her, UT1 is the one that I would usually go for as a newer player, meaning that this will allow you to do the Trial of Sky way easier. And for the TM gear, I generally go by a 3x12 on damage, but if you want to do any scoring content that requires you to have fast damage, then the 25% extra damage onto 95% HP is your way to go. As for the T perks, I would say it's very simple. If you need any mana, this is where the S4 Dark and Radiated Cannons are used. If you are up against anything AoE, you need to have your S3 Dark. But if you are at single target damage, you could best take this S1. So there's multiple ways how to play around it. If you are not sure how to clear certain content, make sure to just try again with different perks. As for any of the stat lines, what I would recommend is just go either purely attack or some penetration in there if you want to do some world boss. This lady has no defense ignore, so this is where penetration really has its value. However, in little and big shockman, it doesn't create much value, so just pure attack would suffice. Another character that I want to mention is a DLK, but as you guys can see, my DLK is nowhere near in existence. But the funny thing is, I will show you content with this amount of gear, just TM raids, and obviously a book of the map because the dude doesn't use any mana, which is absolutely great. And for the people who know this game would ask me like, oh, why is this a starter hero? You need to clear chapter 9. I don't care. Get this character within a day, invest into the dude, and you will be granting yourself one hell of a ride in terms of clearing content. So one of the amazing things about DLK is the addition of Fall of Fray, meaning if you have a Fall of Fray in your team, which everybody should be getting, you will do an obnoxious amount of damage. As you guys can see over here, it is insane. And obviously you can say, but Tue, you have a lot of artifacts, my damage doesn't look the same. It's okay, you will have yourself a unique weapon to do exactly the same. The reason why I would take DLK over Chase would be the PvP department. Because with the S1 mana drain, you will be able to one-shot people if necessary, or you will be able to block them and lock them for at least about 4 seconds. In terms of your TM raids, this dude is an absolute god with his unique weapon, knowing that he can actually reduce heal rate, which is then very good for your Galgorias. And like I said, Fallen Fray will boost this dude up into whatever he is. If you want to build a PvE DLK, I would generally go for the UT3. This will give you your non-hero damage, and this layer stat is ridiculous. For PvP, however, the UT1 is the one to go because this will dispel everything the enemy has done, and the increase of damage will make this thing absolutely obnoxious. And having the ability to one-shot people into PvP is obviously good. Next one upon the list is a Papa Kiel, aka Lucikiel, and I got him the pimp outfit looking absolutely fantastic. But let's just show, in terms of damage, what the difference is between that DLK and Lucikiel. But this isn't fair. He has a unique weapon. I don't care. Let's just show content because honestly, this dude is a monster anyway. And blowing people up straight away. But to show you guys why he is one of my favorite characters, and that would be the absolute status, a cross upper, pulling incapacity, big bang attacks, and on top of it all, you can put fists in ass. Look at that. Ugh. Like, I could never get enough of this. If I was a magical main, this dude would have been A220 long time ago. He is one of the best League of Honor PvP characters currently around, and I'm not even sure how well he would do in League of Victory. But on top of that, he is the best character to start out with to do your Trial of Flow. So an absolute broken character nonetheless. Oh, look at this aesthetics. In terms of items, what you should be looking for is his UT3 if you want to do PvE, and the UT4 if you want to PvP, because this way the shield that he gets will become irremovable, which is absolutely insane. Funny enough, his main kit revolves around his damage ignore, so if you get yourself to Yem gear that can either give you the 3x12 or a damage ignore, then you have a great option for him to build. And as for the perks, this is a general stat that I work with. For PvP, I still haven't used the dude because I don't have him maxed out just yet. After the last character on the list, and as you guys have seen, there's absolutely no gear on this. So I'll use a previous video to show you guys how broken this character really is. Let's do this. Yeet. Let's do it again. Yeet. And S1. Can I do it again? Can I do this again? Jesus, what is this damage? Let's go, baby. I'll just pop another one. Sharks. Because Gremory is getting held back by the fact that nobody else can reach her damage. But that doesn't matter that this is bad. No. This is actually pretty good. But now let's show how to build teams around these characters from scratch. So let's start out with some basics. I would honestly pick a Frey as a healer in every single team. Her shield alone will allow you to get enough survivability to go through all content. Her unique weapon gives you 300 crit rate onto all of your characters. And now with the newest patch, you even have a cleanse on the S1, which is absolutely great. However, after you've cleared chapter 9, you can get yourself Fallen Frey for your normal Frey. You can even combine those if you want to. As for the tanks, I would pick Claws for the physical damage compartment and Jane now with the newest patch for the magical compartment. However, you could take Narox's or Shockmet instead. Both Narox's and Shockmet grant you more survivability than Claws and Jane could ever give you. As for the last character that I would suggest in a 4-man team would be Raharna. This girl with the S4 gives you so much extra heal rate and gives you so much extra crit damage on top of it, as well as any boss damage. This girl is insanely good. Next up, for a 6-man team, I would pick Gao for both Chase and DOK. For one reason, you'll need this dude into the Trial of Earth unless you want to pick Taily straight away. The attack speed increase and the attack increase overall on Gao are absolutely insane and will get you through the game super easily. The downside, however, is you pick both warriors, so you cannot pick Gao into any of the TM raids onto the higher stages. Audie is a character that I will pick up on Pansirone since she needs more cooldown reduction than anything, and you will need Audie onto the Trial of Sky. For the magical team, I will pick Lavril, even though she gives yourself penetration, which seems unnecessary for Lucikiel and Gremory because they have defense ignore. I would still pick her because her buffing rate onto critical damage is humongous. As per anything, and I'm not quite sure whether this is true, but Estelle is the last character on the 6-man team. She is absolutely obnoxious. She knocked Alicia out as a archer healer and buffer. So she's great overall, but especially in the physical department. Now for a few honorary mentions. One would be Rebel Claws. For one, his aesthetics are dope. Using the power of gravity, blasting everything in your way is an absolute ridiculous looking character. And where he excels at more than DOK, more than your Chase, is scoring content, aka your world boss, and he absolutely does fantastic in any of the TM raids. So this dude could well be in the top 5. Another mention would be Lorraine. This is probably a very nasty Eclipse character. Has the greatest ability, which is poison, within this game to turn your PvP into easy mode, basically. Outside of that, she doesn't really have the capacity to do your TM raise because her damage is not enough, which is one of the reasons why she did not make the list. So ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you have a different opinion, put it down into the comments. If you like this one and found this entertaining, helpful, whatsoever, make sure to hit that like button and sub if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys into the next one.